What is an interim immigration status and how can that be used to help you achieve your goal of becoming a lawful permanent resident in the United States? I'm immigration attorney Christopher Gaston of the Gaston Law Firm in Stuart, Florida. What is an interim immigration status? I use that term to describe a status that bridges the gap between where an individual wants to be and where they have to start to get there. So a lot of times individuals will come to the office, maybe on a tourist visa or visa waiver program or some other status and say, I want to be a permanent resident. And at that moment, they don't have the qualifications for any lawful permanent resident category, but there's an opportunity to eventually get there. So I did a previous video explaining how an individual who may be able to start an E2 visa as an investor can eventually transition into permanent residency through maybe an EB5 program for investors or an EB1C program for multinational executives or managers. So that's one way to use the E2 status to kind of bridge the gap until the individual is able to create the investment and job creation to be able to get the EB5 visa or establish a business in the United States to the extent that they're eligible for an EB1C. So that's one of the interim statuses that we use quite often. Another status may be an H-1B or some other work-related visa, and that is often useful for individuals who are seeking to get a visa as an individual of extraordinary ability or exceptional ability and get permanent residency. However, they have recently graduated from college or graduate school or whatever, and they don't have quite the resume, the experience, the credentials to be considered an individual of extraordinary ability or exceptional ability. So that might be a good status for them to build their resume and build that experience that lets them go to permanent residency. Our athletes often come in on a P visa, which is for athletes, and a athlete can come in and work temporarily on his or her craft to become a higher ranked athlete, a better athlete, and at some point they may be able to become a permanent resident through extraordinary ability, exceptional ability, or through a permanent resident process with a permanent job offer. So there are opportunities to start in one particular status and move to another status. So it's important when you are considering where you want to be ultimately with your immigration goals that you understand that it may not be a straight line, a direct path. There may be an interim status that is necessary for you to eventually achieve your goal of becoming a permanent resident. If you want help with this type of pre-immigration planning, contact my team at the Gaston Law Firm. You can reach us at 772-219-0101, or you can find us on the web at www.gastonlawfirm.com. At the Gaston Law Firm, we are building American futures.